Tech Energy Podcast. We're live in Cincinnati, Ohio at MidwestCon. If you've never heard of it, definitely recommend you come out in 2026. Amazing, really in-depth, substantive conversations around tech, emerging technology, disruptive technology, of course, AI. And it's a good time. Cincinnati is a gem, so if you've never been here, pull up next year. And also, I want to shout out Disruption Now. That's another podcast that Rob Richardson, the founder of MidwestCon, hosts and curates. He's got like 200 plus episodes. So definitely make sure you follow them, subscribe, and check out their content too. And throughout the last couple of days, I've just been talking to some really influential leaders, big brands like the woman next to me. Then just talking about their stories, resources, and any guidance they can give you in the space. And today I have Naya, aka the Black Female Engineer, and I could describe you, but you're so multifaceted. I'm going to let you kind of do it yourself. So please let the people know who you are.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for the introduction. Yes, my name is Naya, aka the Black Female Engineer. And 5 years ago, I decided to teach myself to code. Everyone was learning to really just be at home all the time. Decided to make some sourdough bread for the first time ever. And for me, I decided to take that time to learn new skills, primarily learning how to code. And I loved it so much. I had done it just because I knew it could help me in my career in finance. And I picked up my first line of code and I decided to drop everything afterwards. And 6 months later, after spending 80 hours a week in my parents' basement that I moved back into to learn, I received a six-figure offer from a Fortune 50 company and was just... I knew I needed to spread the good word. I knew I needed to shout from the mountaintop about what people's options were in tech and how they can get into the field without some huge accolades and degrees. And so I went online, hit record, and started building an audience. And now, 5 years later, I have an audience of 200,000 people across YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, and now where my content used to be, hey, here's how to get into tech, with the 3-year anniversary of ChatGPT happening last week, now I come online to share with people how to stay in tech, given all of these changes. So I'm so excited for this conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. So when we first clicked record, did you have an idea that it would evolve into what it has?
I couldn't think like that because I wouldn't have clicked record if I thought that I would go to the store or go to an event and a waitress there would be like, oh my goodness, you're Naya, you're the Black Female Engineer, I follow you. That is actually quite terrifying for me, as I'm a very private person. And so for me, it was never about being a brand. It was always about truly documenting the experience, especially while it was fresh in my head, the experience of getting into tech, so that some other Black girl can look at it and be like, okay, cool, she wrote down the blueprint and now I can follow it step by step by step. So if you look at my YouTube videos for a year and a half, it's just me in front of my couch talking for 30 minutes about the next day of the coding step I was on and how you can replicate it. So it really was just nothing I thought it could be. I'm very grateful to be here because it truly just validates the fact that people want to be in these spaces. Our people want to be in these spaces. Yeah. And unfortunately, they haven't been told how to, and now they are, luckily. And so just continuing to encourage them in that way, inform them in that way, is something I'm very grateful for the opportunity to do.
Yeah, no, I would say that's kind of the same way that my online presence took off. It wasn't from a place of I want to be a big deal online. It was I want people to experience what I've experienced. And if somebody, 2 or 3 people get put onto it, great. And, I was surprised, as I'm sure you were, how viral it could get and right. How engaged people are. And obviously that motivates you to do it more. So if you are thinking about doing content, just put it out there from a place of service and value and things will happen.
Absolutely. I am blessed with three younger siblings, and now they've seen me go through the content experience, and they want to be content creators. And I have to tell them, like, yes, content creation can be very cool. However, you have to do it for the sake of creating and for the sake of documenting, and not for the sake of I want followers or I want brand deals or anything like that. Because for like 2.5 years, there was nothing. There was no money there. I am so with my parents. I'm trying to figure out, what to do at work and things like that. And so when the goal is the money or anything like that, you just don't last because the money will not come for a very long time. And so that's why, for the sake of creating, is really what ends up being the most fulfilling thing and the thing that allows you to keep showing up and be consistent and grow.
Yeah, so I mean, as somebody that only has 24,000 on Instagram, there's so much I want to like learn from you in terms of like you posting strategy, this, that, and the other. But since this is a tech podcast, I want to touch on what you talked about before in terms of not just getting a job in tech, but staying in tech with all the new changes in AI and how to kind of be ahead of the curve, et cetera. And I know software engineering is taking a big hit from an entry level perspective in terms of like Salesforce doing a layoff of like 4,000 people and things of that nature. Do you think that is a little bit overhyped and not accurate, or do you think the space of software engineering is in trouble and they should be worried?
I do believe it's not accurate because it's like what people talk about with the news all the time. It's like, oh, you're only seeing the bad stuff, but X, Y, and Z. Yes, layoffs are occurring. Salesforce had those massive layoffs, but then at the same time, we have huge CEOs from, now I can't remember the company for the life of me. I want to say, no, it's not Microsoft. I can't remember now. But we have huge CEOs who are saying, no, junior engineers are the ones we're hiring more of because now we don't need the experts. We need the people who are on the ground who just now learned a new skill, and we can pay them a measly like $120,000 to manage all of these other AI systems and AI agents. And so it's the smart thing to do because you can have a lot of these junior employees and you don't have to pay these, large excessive 500K salaries, etc. But also it's a smart thing to do because these junior employees are the ones who are most close to the innovation that's occurring. When you see someone who is coming out of a boot camp, that they have the most they're most in the know of the new technologies happening rather than the person who's been in college for 4 years for computer science. 4 years ago, ChatGPT didn't exist. So when you think of it that way, you see why junior engineers and entry-level engineers are amongst the most valuable right now, and there are real companies that see that. And so it's just a matter of going to those companies.
That's a refreshing, take because, like you said, the negative headlines will always get the most attention, and it's also good clickbait. You know what I'm saying, to get people engaged. But I think, it does actually make sense that people with fresh perspectives on engineering that can really adopt AI technology and manage things. And I guess for the company, it's a cost-cutting measure. What about those folks that were making like half $500,000 as software engineers? Do they still have a place to pivot, in your opinion? If so, what would you recommend to those folks?
I say the ones who were making the 500K just, watching things happen. Where they pivot is becoming an AI expert and being able to leverage their expertise in tech in general to be like, oh, AI expert, and I have 20 years of experience. Like we have Sam Altman paying $100 million for AI researchers because, yes, they have the PhDs, they have these degrees that they've worked for the last 10 years getting. And so the people who were making that amount, hopefully they have come from a master's program, they come from PhDs, et cetera. So to leverage that education to propel themselves even further.
Gotcha. And then when it comes to like the AI education, AI skilling up, what are some directions that you usually recommend people go and resources, et cetera?
Honestly, the biggest resource I have as a first step is to use the tools. I have been so excited talking with all of the attendees here at MidwestCon, and I'm talking to people who are like, oh, I only use ChatGPT. And it's like, oh my goodness, like I get that if we were at 3 years ago, but now you see that different models are useful for different things. Claude is where to go if you want to code. Gemini is where I recommend going if you're a student. ChatGPT is great for the quick brainstorming sessions, etc. I need to make dinner, like here's a picture of my fridge. And so being able to use all of these different models and through trial and error, find what's best for what, that is going to be a much faster learning experience than you picking up another course. I'm not saying don't pick up the course. However, I think people get overwhelmed and scared about the idea of going straight to the source. And we need to kick that out immediately, because if we're scared and intimidated by AI and tech, you're kind of making your own bed about what's going to happen to you and your job in the future.
Yeah, no, it's a great point. And it reminds me, I was at InvestFest in Atlanta, and Jack Dorsey was one of like the keynote speakers or like keynote interviews. So Jack Dorsey, he founded Twitter. He's big in Bitcoin, and he's also the founder of Stripe, Block, all the things. And when he talks about AI, he was like, I spend 30 minutes a day doing things in AI that I don't think is possible, to like just stretch my understanding of what this tool can do. And every day I learn something that I had no idea I would learn, and I accomplished something that I thought was impossible. And he was just like, that's a practice I recommend everybody do, and not just do it in ChatGPT, but do it in like all these new tools that you can do like free trials of, etc. So it just kind of reiterates your point, like you can learn by listening to YouTube, etc., or you can just put in that prompt and just start getting really good and better at it and figuring out like, okay, this is actually possible. Wow.
Right. And you don't know what you don't know, right? If I don't know that I can do this, I'm not going to go to chat and try. So I was actually, this morning, I was at breakfast with my aunt, who I think, especially for adults, I've been seeing adults are more kind of edgy on trying AI. She's phenomenal with AI. However, still came to me and said, hey, like, what would a beginner, what should they do? And what I said to her was, any pain point, any problem, or any instance of negativity you experience in that day, go to an AI model, describe what you're experiencing, and ask, what can I do? So for example, if I am over here, I'm not great at ordering groceries. I'm not great at feeding myself. So here I am, and I'm looking at my fridge. There's not much. I'm like, it's not looking good. I could realize, okay, I'm experiencing this pain point. Go to ChatGPT or your AI model of choice and say, hey, I'm having trouble figuring out what to eat for dinner. Everything's closed, etc. How can I come to you for a solution? The goal is for that model to say, you can take pictures of your fridge and your cabinets and upload it into ChatGPT. I will then provide you recipes based on what I see in your fridge, what I see in your inventory, basically. Now I know how to come to ChatGPT in a different instance. And so that's why I say keep track of the pain points you're experiencing and then describe that pain point and say, hey, how can I use you right now to be a solution?
Nice. And what I like about your content too is it's not just like, talking. It actually shows you doing things. Like, hey, I'm going to build an app and let me code it out and all the different things. How crazy or how much different has your app development experience been from 3 years ago to now?
Oh, it's insane. I feel superhuman when I build apps now, because when I was learning to code, the best thing you can do, learning to code, just like the best thing to do with learning to get into AI, is do the thing. And so for me, that meant building a bunch of projects to make sure the learnings were being cemented, make sure I'm not losing the learnings. And so I would just build a bunch of apps, add it to my portfolio, etc. Before, and this took like 7 days when I pushed myself. I wouldn't sleep. I would maybe sleep 3 hours a day straight for 7 days. I could build a full app after that. That would be very difficult. It was very, very hard to do that. Now that has been cut down to 24 hours.
Nice.
And it's only 24 hours because I'm maxing out on my tokens, on Claude, on Chat, whatever I'm using. And so it's been really fun to just be like, oh, okay, I think the most recent video I shared of me building an app was me talking about dating apps as a traveler. Because I was like,
I saw that,
okay,
yeah.
yes. I'm like, okay, I'm 27 years old. Like, how do people who are my age interested in meeting people, but is never in one place at the same time? How can I go about dating? So I was like, okay, I think me to myself, like, okay, I think there should be an app that considered where you're going to be when. Now I go to Claude and I say, hey, I want to build an app that does this. This is the MVP. This is the minimal functionality it needs to be useful for this use case. So being able to put in your itinerary and say when you're going to be and matching that with other people. Like, oh, John over there is also going to be in Thailand in 2 weeks and everything. Maybe you guys can match. And listing all of this out for Claude and saying, provide me the MVP in Swift. And then now I'm cleaning my room as it codes for the next like 5 to 8 minutes, and then looking and the MVP is built. And now afterwards, where I come in is putting together, let's say, the back end, the authentication, hosting, etc. It's been absurd. That happened in like 2 hours. Dating apps, because I love making dating apps, they were the most time intensive thing because of how much back end and resources they need to build. Now it's just, hey, I'm thinking about this. And Claude's like, bet, here you go. Like, what else do you need from me, ma'am?
Right.
So it has just become such a fun experience where I can just let my imagination run wild. And to the point before of any pain point I'm experiencing, I'm like, how can I build an app to address it? And then boom, I'm creating wine from water.
Absolutely. So, I mean, obviously, sky's the limit when it comes to things you can create or ways that you could take your brand. What are you excited about doing the most in the next year to 5 years?
Oh, geez. I don't even know. I'm excited to do everything. Like, I think with AI, because now the sky's the limit. I was talking yesterday during my panel how I have always been a big dreamer. That you want to see me happy? Give me a notebook and tell me to dream about my life for the next 5 years. And so it's been really fun because having AI, because now I go to AI and I'm like, hey, here are my big goals. I want to do this, and this. What does 10x of that look like? It's really interesting to see, especially a model like Chat who, like, quote unquote knows me for the last 3 years because everything is being remembered. And so it being to say, oh, well, you're Naya, the Black female engineer who has X, Y, and Z. So let's 10X to this and it would look like this. Where before I have felt like maybe like I can't necessarily go to like friends or family with my dreams and goals because it's just too big. I don't want anyone to ever say, oh, like maybe we should, or look at me a certain way. But now I have Chat, who's this tool that I can use with no judgment ever and will push me even further than I even thought. Because I think my dream is 10x already, but then it's like, no, but here's 100x. So I say that to say, I just have very big goals, and what I'm most excited about is having a tool by my side that will continue to push me to think further, and then afterwards help me strategize in a way that allows me to also reach it. It's not, okay, those are your goals, and then like, good luck. It's like, hey, like, okay, you can talk to these people. Maybe you can reach out to this company, do this. And it's been really fun to see how quickly now I go towards my goals because of it.
Man, I really wish we could keep talking.
I know.
Like, this has been like, time has flown.
That's crazy. It's been more than 20 minutes. How long has it been?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, we're hitting the 30-minute mark, and I got another guest that is going to have to take the studio. But I would love for you to just give any final thoughts to the people that are watching this, and then let people know how they can stay connected with you.
Yes, I would say just the final thought, the final takeaway is to take the resources that are being brought and made for you. So ChatGPT is a good beginner one. Whatever grievances or negativity you're experiencing, go to these models and inquire about how to how can they be of help? How can they be of service? Because I think we need to remember in this time of, oh my God, everything's going to be replaced. These tools are to be of service to you.
Yeah.
And so just log on and put it to work.
Yeah.
And I think you'll find it to be a lot more fun. It'll make you a better developer. It'll make you a better mother. It'll make you a better teacher when you do it like that. And so, no, it's been fantastic chatting with you. To find me, I am on all platforms. I'm on all platforms at The Black Female Engineer, all spelled out, all one word, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, you name it.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for coming through.
Thank you, Jared.
And thank you all for watching. Like I said, make sure you tap in with their content. It's really, really dope. And it's unique. You know, it's not the cookie cutter breaking the tech, you know, fluffy content. Like, it actually shows they're doing stuff. So it should inspire you to do the same. And then also, if you want to connect with me, you can connect with me on Instagram, Dr. J, DOCTAJ. I do post a lot of tech resources. I have a broadcast channel where I post roles and free conferences and all the type of things. By the way, she's the plug when it comes to free conference tickets, so make sure you follow her for that. Shout out for her bringing a lot of people to MidwestCon. But if you are interested in taking your subject matter expertise and turning it into new revenue streams, new opportunities for recruiters to connect with you, investors to invest in your business, etc., check out bigstage.energy. We're really just focused on helping people take advantage of the attention economy, but more importantly, taking all of that knowledge and skills that you've accumulated and sharing it with the world, blessing others, and then also turning it into a blessing for your finances and for your family. So if you want to chat, hit me up on Instagram. You can DM me, let me know that you saw this podcast, and then also find me on LinkedIn. And make sure you subscribe to Big Tech Energy Podcast. I'm about to start going back at it a lot more consistently, and we'd love for you to watch all the other interviews I did at MidwestCon. Final shout out to MidwestCon for having us. Shout out to Disruption Now. Shout out to the city of Cincinnati. And until next time, this is Big Tech Energy Disruption Now collaboration. Stay disruptive, and we'll talk soon. Peace.